In the radio restoration work that I do as a hobby, you often come across things like this. This is a tube radio knob. This one's been cleaned and this one hasn't. Now, to get it from this to this, all it took was some warm water and some detergent, and the difference is quite dramatic, obviously with a bit of scrubbing with an old toothbrush. However, you end up with a situation like that. And the only way to get rid of that is to actually buff it or polish it or whatever you want to call it. And what I found works very well after trying a hell of a lot of stuff are these things. This is a buffer that you buy for, a Dremel tool or any other rotary tool. It goes in there, and this thing is basically a buffer that you can get in various types of grit. More or less abrasive. I found the one that I liked and have been using it for some time. The only problem with this is that 2 of these cost me about 17 euros. That's almost 20 bucks American. So it's really something you spend a hell of a lot of money on, because just to get one of these done, in other words, to polish that off and that brass there and there, I'd go through one of these. Now, when you start doing the sums, this thing starts getting rather costly. And I decided to find a cheap alternative, and I do believe I have one which I want to show you now. This alternative will work just as well, and I've used it so I can confirm that it does work, and it costs you each, instead of working out at half of 17 euros or so, it cost me something like 2 or 3 cents. That's a good saving, I would say. Let me show you how you do that. First thing you do is you got to get one of these. These are the common scouring pads that you buy. They're various makes. You buy them at the supermarket, at your pound store or dollar store. These things are incredibly cheap. In fact, I bought 2 of these for about 80 cents, I believe it was. This is from 3M. This is a pretty good quality one. That's the blue one. This is a cheaper version. I think it's probably half the price of the other one. Anyway, almost free. Let's go for this one, okay? And what I want to do is create that out of that. And it's very, very simple. And the way to do that is you start by cutting this in, let's cut one strip about that big. Now, bear in mind you can get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 8 of these on that one strip. We'll go one step further, cut that off like that. You'll see the size in a minute. Then I take a coin, in this case a €1 coin, and I put it on there, just around the edges a little bit. Doesn't have to be too exact. And that's what we're left with. Okay? Do the same to the others. Literally just trim the edge a bit. You don't even have to do this. I just like to do that because it then works out more uniformly. Let's stick to 2. We've got 2 of these. Okay? And if you work out what this thing costs, and the fact that you can get about, 60 of these from one of those pads, you figure out this costs about 3 cents, okay? Or 2 cents. The next thing you do is you make a hole through the middle. Just a screwdriver, a needle, whatever you want to do. Just make a hole down the middle. That's done. And the next thing you're going to need is a adaptation that comes with the rotary tool. It's the mandrel with a screw at the end that is used to hold the sanding sheets, sanding appliances that they use. So this is basically just a screw at the end of the mandrel. You'll also need a couple of washers. any two washers, as long as they are the sort of washer that'll hold the screw and that won't go through the end. So the screw won't go through that, all right? And now you put one washer in, you put that through that hole that you made. It should be there somewhere, yep. Comes through the other side, put another washer in there, and you screw that on there. And just tighten it. The reason you use the washers is so that the screw doesn't tighten through the brush, okay? Now I'm going to do a polish on this one to show you how this works. The trick here is to use this at a fairly low velocity so that you don't overheat the plastic around the brass on this thing, okay? It's getting there. As you can see, it's not complete yet. We haven't done the we haven't gone through that layer yet, but it's getting there. And the result is starting to become pretty obvious. You can actually polish this down to the original brass, and you end up with a knob or a piece of jewelry, whatever it is you want to buff, that comes out absolutely perfectly for the cost of about 2 cents. And about 2 minutes to change from one to the other. All right, I hope that helps you. Certainly saved me a lot of bucks. This thing was becoming quite a drain on my hobby budget. They work very well, must say. They are excellent to do the buffing, but they are certainly too expensive for the amount that I go through. Anyway, hope that was useful, and I hope that saves you a lot of money as well. Bye for now.